Good evening, everyone. As you just saw in the message on your screen, we're going to record this session so that anybody who missed it can watch it later on via YouTube. Welcome to this Public Image Committee webinar on the Rotary Brand Center. My name is Alexander Falk. I'm your district governor for 22-23, in case you haven't seen me yet this Rotary year. And as co-presenters, I have with me members of the Public Image Committee, especially Sarah Fury and Andy Maddox, and we have many other members of the Public Image Committee on the call as well. So when we get to the Q&A part at the end, we'll hopefully be able to cover various different perspectives. And with that, let me get right into it and share my screen with you. And my part of the Brand Center presentation is going to focus on three things. One is how the hell do I get to the Brand Center? And number two is where have the brand guidelines gone? It used to be a big public image PDF document that had all these corporate identity guidelines, and that no longer exists. And part number three is how to create a Rotary Club logo. That's what I'm going to cover in my segment. So let's start with how to find the Brand Center. And I'm just going to start on our district page. And on our district page on the support, you have a link to My Rotary. If you don't want to go to our district page first, if that's not your home page, which it should be, you can also just go to the address bar and type my.rotary.org. And that's where everything in the Rotary world starts. And once you're here, you will have to sign in. Hopefully you're using a safe password and the password manager to sign into Rotary. If your password is Rotary123, please change it to something more secure. You don't want to be hacked. But once you've logged into My Rotary, you can see in the top right corner that there's your name showing up there now. And now there's two places where you can find the Brand Center. Both are somewhat logical, and you can use either one. So one is under News and Media, right? Media has something to do with brands. So you can go to News and Media and then down here to the Brand Center. And the other one is in the Manage tab, where there's a lot of things like club and district administration and everything else. And there's also a link to the Brand Center there. Both lead to the exact same place. So this is the look of our new Brand Center. It has gone through a little bit of a transformation in recent months, and it's much more nicely cleaned up. There's this friendly box, what do you want to do today? So you can pick an option from here if you already know what you want to do today, or you can scroll down. There's a little video clip introduction of the Brand Center. And then there is these four large areas here: our brand, downloads, people of action, templates. And we're going to cover all of them tonight real quick. Sarah is going to talk to you about people of action, and Andy will talk to you about the download side. And I'm going to cover the first two blocks, our brand and some of those templates. And we'll start with our brand. When you click on view for our brand, you basically get to a page with a couple of menu items on the left side. That is the replacement for the old PDF usage guideline document. So if you open up this section here on brand elements, there's now information on the different logos and graphics, the colors, the typography. And you can click on all of these to find out more. So if you want to know what are the primary fonts that you should be using in Rotary communications, here they are. There is a commercial licensed version called Frutiger, either way. And there's free alternatives that you can utilize. And there is also secondary fonts with more italics, more serifs, Georgia and Sentinel that you can utilize. So if possible for your club websites, it's great if you use these fonts rather than something like Times New Roman. Similarly to the fonts, there's a section on colors that gives you a guide to all the official Rotary colors. And there's sort of a list of primary colors and then secondary colors and then some more. And for all of these colors, you can find out exactly what their hex value is, which is what you need as a web developer when you want to build a website. Or if you do something in Photoshop or Illustrator, you can use these RGB values. Or if you're going to print with this, your printer will want to know what is the Pantone color value for that color. Or if it's a CMYK printing process, what are these numbers? So all of that is best spelled out right here in the Brand Center in great detail. Similarly, you can find information on all the logos here. So in terms of logos, there is your Polio Now logo. You can find all the area of focus logos for the foundation here. And of course, you can find the logo for clubs and districts here. And this is where we're going to dive into next. So if I click on Learn More, there's some information here on how the master brand logo for clubs and districts should look like. And there is the regular, what's called the master brand signature, with the Rotary wheel, the so-called mark of excellence, having the words Rotary International inside. And there's also a simplified version where it's just yellow color without the little tiny letters inside. The intent here is that for something like a web page or an email, it's much better to use the simplified version of the logo, because once this has reached a certain size, nobody can read those little letters anymore. And it just looks much cleaner if you use the simplified version. Whereas if you go to print with something, you have a much higher resolution and a print output than on a screen. You can use and should use the master brand original signature that has the words Rotary International inside the mark of excellence. And then, as you can see, there can be text above or below the logo. And you can choose where your club name appears. And it depends a bit on how you spell your club name, right? It could be the Rotary Club of Evanston, then you would put it below. Or it could be the Sunrise Kampala Rotary Club. Then you have some part above and some part below. For districts, it's always required to be below. But that's basically how it works for Rotary Club logos. And then, of course, we don't want to forget about Rotaract. Same examples apply to Rotaract, except they're pink. And they apply to Interact, except now they're light blue. So this is sort of the guideline on how this should look like. The cool thing is, instead of having to worry about how to design this yourself, there is a link here that goes to the fourth section in the Brand Center, which is the templates. And that's what we're going to look at next. So if I click here, it jumps over to the template section. I can get here the same way if I'm on the Brand Center homepage, and I just scroll down and then click on View in the template section. So that gets me to the same place. And these templates here allow me to quickly create a club logo. And that's what we're going to do now. So I'm going to click here on Rotary Clubs. And I have these three templates available. I'm going to do a Rotary Club, so I will start here. Rotaract would obviously start here on the right side. And then it tells me when to do that. And I say, yes, yes, I know. I'm going to click on Create. And then it loads this wonderful Rotary logo template. And now you can do everything nicely and dynamically right here. The first selection you make is, do you want the regular master brand signature with the letters Rotary International inside or not? And if I'm going to create it for the website, I'm going to switch that from regular to simplified. And you can immediately see that the design of the mark of excellence in the master brand signature has now been changed to the simplified wheel. You can then choose if you want this to be all white, all black, all blue, white and gold, or full color. In normal circumstances, you would use full color, but if you want to have something that is on a white background or in a different colored background, you can choose these other options. It depends a little bit on the graphic design you have in mind, but normally 90% of the cases you want to do the full color logo. And then you just have to define where your club name appears. We're going to start here simply with the Rotary Club of Marblehead as my default example. So if I wanted to have my Rotary Club name appear like that, next step is to click on Download File. But I want to show you the other options. I can now switch here from below logo to above and below. And I can change this to the Marblehead Rotary, Rotary Club. So that's my second option of how this could look. And of course, my third option is there's been a lot of discussion in Rotary recently about the use of the word club. Is club an inclusive concept? Or could club be perceived as being non-inclusive and potentially even elitist? Does it confuse young people when we try to talk to them and invite them to come to Rotary? If it's a Rotary Club, should we use the word club or not? Well, if you decide in your Rotary Club that you don't want to use the word club anymore, you just use this option, and it's the Marblehead Rotary. The really important thing is that you're consistent in how you use it, right? It's not good on a website if on top of the website it says Marblehead Rotary, and then in the middle there's a big, fat, wonderful greeting that says, "Welcome to the Rotary Club of Marblehead." And then in the middle of everything else, it's the Marblehead Rotary Club. Pick one, be consistent through all your communications about how exactly you communicate it. But all of these options are allowed and supported by Rotary. So you can either have the Marblehead Rotary, the Marblehead Rotary Club, or the Rotary Club of Marblehead underneath. And then once you have decided which version you want to use, you click on Download File. And now you get 3 buttons. Nice, beautiful tech acronyms. I'm going to tell you quickly a little bit about what they are, but we have a second webinar planned late in the spring about how to use these logos in graphic design programs in more detail. So this is just a sneak preview. PNG, the portable network graphics format, is a pixel raster format that's very good for website usage. And it is a lossless compression format. So it will always be precisely the same logo that you create here. JPEG, the Joint Photography Group, I think is the name of the acronym. I don't remember. Sarah, do you know? No. I think Annie gives me a thumbs up. Yeah, it's the Joint Photography Group. It was actually JPEG with an E. It was the Joint Photography Expert Group originally. It's basically what comes out of your digital cameras. It's a graphics format that's used for photography mostly, but it is a lossy compression format. So when you recreate the photo, it's not 100% exactly the same as before, because during the compression phase, some pixels were optimized and bunched together in ways that make the file smaller. So for logos, I would recommend PNG usage. Whereas when we talk to Sarah in a few minutes about people of action campaign shots, where you have actual photos with image overlaid, that's much better to do in JPEG format. And last but not least, PDF, the portable display format from Adobe, sometimes also called PostScript display format, is for anything that has to do with print, because this is a vector graphics format. So rather than having the individual pixels of the image, it has mathematical descriptions of the curvatures of the letters and all of that in there. So my recommendation to you is download all 3 of them. You just click on PNG and it gives you a quick message that it takes a second to generate that. And then what you probably can see is it popped up a window for me to download the file onto my computer. And you do the same with the JPEG and the PDF, and then you have all 3 formats for your club, and you can use them on the website and for letterhead or printing template purposes. And that's really what I wanted to show you in terms of the club logo generator in the Brand Center. I would probably at this point in time, if I got to that stage, go back one step and also download all 3 versions of the regular logo rather than just a simplified one, because especially when I do PDFs for print, I might want to use it with the Rotary International inside and might want to have that version as well. So when you create your club logo once, download it both as simplified and as regular is my recommendation. And I think that's the end of my part of the Brand Center. You can obviously jump to these things directly from that top menu too, so you don't have to scroll down and go through these 4 links. You can, from the top of the brand center, immediately say, create a club logo, and it takes you right to that page where you then click here, and you're back at the logo generator. And with that, I'm going to stop screen sharing and ask for questions real quick before we jump into Sarah's part. Does anybody have any question about the logo generation in the brand center? I don't see any hands, so over to you, Sarah.
All right, thank you. So as Alexander said before, there's a few different ways to get to the People of Action area, which is actually really great because you can either get it from the top here, drop down, find People of Action materials, or if you go down to where he was before with these 4 big calls to action under People of Action. So you basically can't miss it. And it's funny that Alexander went over the colors, because now I'm like, they did a really nice job here with using the accent colors like this purple and everything for these new pages. So they're practicing what they preach. So with these People of Action materials, there are the promotional materials that you can use, just images and videos that you can use when you're constructing one yourself, and then the templates, which you can either use their templates or customize your own. And basically the point of these People of Action materials is to be able to show Rotary in a larger format, larger than our district, that we are people of action. There's a few different words that they've come up with that kind of show what we are as Rotary. And it's an easy explanation as to what is Rotary. We're action, we're, thinkers, we're collaborating. So that's kind of why you would use these materials. And then if you are doing anything else outside of those kinds of action-y things, you can always just use your own templates that you create or use their images separately. So in these promotional materials, it takes you right into basically if you were searching the brand center. And so it just populates what comes up for you to use for promotional materials outside of just images. So these are like already created pieces that are explaining their dimensions. They're big banners that you can use. And if you were gonna print at a shop. So that's kind of this area for those larger projects. And then if I go back, it's the same thing here for images and videos, where it just searches images and videos inside of the campaign People of Action. And so you can use any of these. You don't have to use your own club photos. And so these are basically what they're looking for you to use, which are people that are in action, not looking at the camera, and have multiple people working on something. And then they have some videos. But the cool part is in this template area where it says you can create your own content. And they break it up into 3 different dimensions for the things that you most likely are using, like a print ad that you're putting somewhere, a Facebook post, which would be the same for a lot of social media channels, the square dimension, and then a digital banner for your website, or probably even Facebook banner for that size. And you might even want to use a different photo depending on the size. Here they've given the example of the same photo, but as I'm playing around in it, I realize that if I have a really great long, tall shot, okay, I'd probably want to use that in an ad template where that's where the dimensions are going. And if I have a picture where there's a lot going on, but it looks like maybe there's too much sky and too much grass, that's perfect for a digital banner that is lengthwise. So I can show you, once you click on one of them, like the print ad template, you'll press create. And if for some reason you forget what you're kind of trying to get to by doing this, it gives you this nice little pop-up that says, make sure you show real life moments, use images with motion. So it kind of reminds you about all those little tips and tricks. And then you'll choose, for this paper size, it's either letter or A4, because this is just for a paper ad. And then under edit content, you'll select the verb that you like to use. So like right here is together we connect. You can do empower and many of the other different choices that they've come up with. And then you can choose next under image source. Would you like to use one of their Rotary images that they already have? Or do you want to do upload your own? So if I just click on Rotary images, I can click on this portrait that brings up a list of all of the images that I can use that they have for availability. And then you can crop or resize it, which we would need to do. So unfortunately, it doesn't just zoom out to what is actually on the actual dimensions, but it's easy enough to pull out the photo to whatever you would like it to include. Make sure it covers all of the paper. And then you'd press close and it would be like that. And I believe you can edit this text too. So if you wanted to do anything particular about what you're transforming, or the anything particular about your club, you can put it there. And I'll show you what it looks like too if you upload your own photo. So it starts off with this gray background, and same thing, you'll click on this portrait to bring up. And so no photos come up because it's upload your own. Down at the bottom, upload your own image. And then for portrait, I actually did like this one that I was using, which is more of a vertical shot from a club I was in a few years ago. And so you can crop or resize it. Change any dimensions or anything you want down here, press close. And so that's your personalized version of the campaign. And then once you're done, you'll press download file. And again, this is for print, so there's only a PDF version. And you can add crop marks by checking this for your printer. And you would just press PDF to download, and it takes a few minutes, and then it's in your downloads folder. So that's perfect, PDF generated. And I'll quickly show you one of the digital ones so that you can see when it has options of things. I personally like using all of these square dimensions now because you can use it on your Instagram or your Facebook to showcase your club, and you never have to resize because it's already a size that both like. So again, you can pick the verb, and you can also use the Rotary images or your own. And then once you are done and you like it cropped and resized the way you like, under download file, you'll have now, because it's a digital image, you'll have the two options of JPEG and PNG. So it is nice to play around too with picking out maybe 5 photos that you like to use, and then seeing what works best with where the text is with the together we and the verb, to make sure that it's composed so nicely that that's not where anything important is in the photo. So I always have a few different backup choices for when I'm doing something like this. And the banner is just kind of the same ideology. And then I just wanted to show you underneath these brand guidelines for People of Action is a little bit more about what People of Action is. And then again, you can get right to creating your own here in this blue highlighted text. And then it shows a little bit about what the do's and don'ts are. So these are exemplary examples of very colorful, well-lit, multiple people in action. And that's exactly what they're looking for these People of Action campaigns. And then there's some don'ts to avoid. So I know it's so easy to take photos of, people handshaking, people smiling with something that you're donating, and those are still good and you can use them on many other things, but for People of Action, they're not looking for that static look. They are looking for an action. And for more information, obviously there's a lot of resources on My Rotary in general, but I realize it's at the bottom here that says, for more information about promoting your club with People of Action, there's a 15-minute course and it takes you right to the Learning Center. And if you have other questions that they can't answer, then you can email the Public Image Committee. Does anybody have any questions on People of Action?
Sarah, there's a couple of messages in the chat for you.
Oh. The upload your image pulls from your photos. So you can pick what folder that you're selecting. So once it asked me, where's your photo? I was already in the downloads folder, which is where I had saved the pictures inside a specific folder. And so I was able to locate wherever the photo was saved, but it has to be saved on your computer, not in an email or something like that. And I see which is best for Facebook, JPEG, or PNG. I would say JPEG. I don't know if Alexander would say that or not, but I usually use PNGs for especially things with transparent backgrounds so that it enables for like a logo so that I can use it on something else, whereas a JPEG I would usually use for miscellaneous photos.
Yeah, I agree. For anything that has photographic content, JPEG is much better. PNG is really just for logos and as you said, transparency.
How to prepare a Zoom background with your Rotary Club logo. So this, I assume, actually would be outside of the Brand Center. So first you would download one of the Zoom backgrounds from the Brand Center, and then in your creator of choice, whether or not it's canva.com or Photoshop, probably even a lot of desktop photo previews do this, where you're just going to put the logos on top of the background. But if anybody does need any help specifically with their specific one, you can reach out to me or us, because that's something I can offline show you how to do. Does anyone want to do we have a template about what is Rotary or the Rotary history?
There's no real template for that. There's a page on the RI website that explains the history of Rotary, and you could use that text and copy paste it into a document of your own, but there's no graphic asset about that available per se.
And Bob asks, can you add your club brand to the People of Action? I believe the answer is no.
That's correct.
Rotary doesn't want it there because they already have the master brand there.
Yeah, and the fact that they don't allow it in any of those choices, that also was like, oh, I guess not. So yeah, that is more to promote Rotary's People of Action with the Rotary brand only.
So Sarah, I got a quick question to follow up to that question.
Yeah.
You know, in the text box where you can change the text a little bit on the people of action, can you, it generally starts off, it says Rotary and then after that. Could you go like Malden Rotary,
Yes,
a club of action or whatever? I mean, in other words, can you customize the text and add your Rotary name, club name?
To the text, I believe the answer is yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Maybe Sarah can show us.
Yeah, I know you can edit it, but because it's editable, I don't see why you couldn't, unless, because there's nowhere that says,
I was just wondering if that
yeah.
violated the brand.
Nope.
Because I understand the people of action is Rotary International in general, but if you wanted to make it more specific to your local city or town.
Well, in the text, you can totally do that, but that's why it's
Okay.
editable.
Okay.
Yeah,
one of the choices in select verb in that drop down is save lives. If you gave a defibrillator to the library, then
Sure.
you certainly have a photo of that getting installed or getting used on someone as a test or something, and describe how Malden Rotary made this happen.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Oh, and also, do we have a district Zoom background?
I
Already been
believe
created?
I created one at some point in time. I can dig it up and send it to you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think it's over to me. Let me share my screen. Let me get back out to the front here. So I'm going to talk to you about everything else. Thank you, Alex and Sarah, for covering the logos and people of action. Those are two big parts of Rotary Brand Center, but there's a lot more here, and there's a lot of different ways to get to it, and that's kind of what I'm going to focus on. Under what do you want to do today? You can come in here and say, I want to find an image or video. And that brings you to this section, and you can say, I want polio images. That'll bring you here. This is, a whole bunch of images, photos, and some videos in here that are available to use. You can download those and include them on your website. But I want you to understand what this is. This is one big collection of many, many photos, videos. There's some audio in here. There's Word documents. There's tutorials, and there's even more templates. And what we did by clicking into I want to find an image, then clicking on polio, if you look here, it actually did the search for you. It said, I want images, I want videos, I want audio, and I want it referring to polio, okay? But we can clear all these filters and we get everything. Right now, there's 1,004 available images, videos, etc. There's 19 different templates and there's 40 site links. If I come back out to the front and go at it a different way, we can go into downloads. That also gets us to the same page, but we can go to view all, and then we're not filtering into polio or a topic like that. We're looking at everything, and you can come in here and do your own search. I want to search for youth. And it'll bring up Youth Exchange, RILA. There's probably some Interact stuff in here. And you'll notice we have all different sorts of assets in here. We have photos, we have videos, we have virtual backgrounds for Zoom sessions, like the one I just grabbed and downloaded and put behind myself so you don't see the mess in my office. And this is showing that you typed in youth, there are 54 available assets for that. And there's 3 templates. These templates lead you into the same sort of thing that that Alex showed you with logos and Sarah showed you with people of action. I'm not going to get much into that, but know that there are other templates here. Site is site links. That's really just links to other parts of Brand Center. And always know that if you don't want to go in through My Rotary or Rotary.org or the district website first, you can bookmark brandcenter.rotary.org and get right to this whole thing right away. So in here, you can filter by asset type and see just images, just graphics, just videos, club and member resources, or any combination of those by saying, I want to see club and member resources and videos. And then I'll give you that. What they're referring to as club and member resources in this case are the 2 backgrounds that are available for youth exchange. You can click into any of these. It'll give you a description of what it is, what it's for, and the details on it. And you can just click download to grab it. You can also clear your search. We are still on club and member resources and videos, so we have 188. If I clear videos, then we have just club and member resources. There are 42 different ones there. And one thing I want to point out, at the top level of the Brand Center, it talks about images and video. But there is more than that. There are Word documents in here. For example, there is Word document on service projects, and you can download those. I've downloaded one of them so I can show you what it is. This is for press release on your on a service project you've done. And basically it's a Word document. It may not look like Word to you. I have black on for the background, so it doesn't look like a normal page, but it would be black on white normally. And you can come in here and just anywhere they have brackets with something, you change this to Malden Rotary members to address, tackle, fight, whatever. And just take this text as a starting point, edit it, and make sure that you don't send it off to your local newspaper with anything saying insert here before you do. That's the basics here. There are, someone asked about backgrounds. There are a bunch of different backgrounds available here. They're not customized to your club or anything. If you want that, you'll have to do it yourself, or ask someone for help with that. It's fairly easy to do. It's basic editing. But I just want you to be aware of all that's here. I just cleared the last filter, so we're back to 1,004 downloads. Again, we have asset types. We have subtypes, whether they're targeted for print, online, meeting content, etc. Campaigns, people of action, and End Polio Now. Our causes, clean water, growing local economies, etc. And keywords, lots of keywords that you can come in and search on. But remember that you can also just go up to the search box and type what you're looking for. If you type food, you're going to get images and videos and such that generally have to do with food. This looks more like painting a fence, but Perhaps they're painting, they're in addition to donating food and helping maintain the building, Rotary members visit with residents regularly. So it searches through the text and finds things that are appropriate. Some of these, may be more appropriate. These are, using images like this, it's always kind of a toss-up. Do you want images of your own club, or do you want images that are good to go, professionally shot and everything? Sometimes you may not have a good image of your club and you just want to get a message across. You want to show that your club is people of action or anything like that. Consider these images and other assets in that way. What are you trying to convey? How can you use it? And is it better than what you might have on hand? Don't use them to say, our Rotary members went and packed, meat. If that's not what you did, but you can say this is what Rotary does. That's the basics of it right now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen if I can find the button. There it is. Do we have any questions on this? Okay. Alex, do you have anything more?
No, I think this was excellent. Thank you so much, Andy and Sarah, for your contributions. I think we covered a lot, and all of that in 45 minutes, which is wonderful. If anybody has questions that come to you after this webinar, please don't hesitate to contact the Public Image Committee. All of us are here to help you. And as was said before, if you want help with customized things like a Zoom background for your club or other things, we can help with that too. Most of us are skilled in Photoshop or Canvas or any of these other tools that are out there. And the recording of this webinar will be published on the district website fairly shortly. So I'm going to stop the recording here.